Okay, I'm gonna do a storytelling, and this is a story from, it's a true story about my son. He's 4 years old. Does anybody out there have children? If you do, you know that they can do some pretty funny things and defy you pretty well. So, this is a story about my son who decided that it was okay to eat ice cream for breakfast. So this is how it started. So my son gets up pretty early, around 5, 6 o'clock sometimes, and he's always hungry. He's at this age where he's just eating all the time and eats and eats and eats. He's always hungry. So we usually try to leave him something. So in case he gets up early and we're still sleeping, he can eat that in the morning. So this one morning, he woke up, and I had heard him, I thought, in our bedroom trying to say something, and I just kind of blew it off because I was sleeping. And he was out in the living room, and we didn't think anything of it. And then I wake up, and I go into the living room, and my son is nowhere to be found. And I'm like, well, that's weird, because I heard him up in the morning. So I look for him, and on my way out to the living room, I look on our couch, and there is a pint of ice cream, and it's half gone. The spoon is still in it, and it's just like lying there on our couch. And I'm like, what? This is so weird. And then I think, and I'm like, oh, Eric must have eaten it. And I think, Eric's my son's name. I think, how could he have gotten to it? Like, I don't understand. So I go into, because of course, like, I have to put it back in the freezer because it's melting. So I take it all the way to the kitchen. I get to the freezer, and at the bottom of the refrigerator, I see my son's stool, like a step stool that he uses like for the bathroom, for the sink and stuff like that. And the freezer door open. Okay, so now I know how I got to it. And I know, not to leave a step stool out now. But so then I find him, and he's hiding from me, and because he knows he did something wrong. So I go up to him, and I say, why did you eat this? And he said, well, I was hungry. And I said, well, why didn't you eat what we left out for you this morning? And he said, I did, and I was still hungry. I said, okay. And I said, so then what did you do? And he said, so I got my step stool, and I got to the freezer, and I ate ice cream. And I'm like, but you know that ice cream isn't for breakfast. And he just kind of looked at me, and I, of course I punished him. I said that he couldn't watch TV all day, and he couldn't have ice cream for a long time, no treats and stuff. And he looks at me, and he looks at my husband, and he says, well, you and Daddy shouldn't have left my step stool out so I could reach the ice cream. It was the funniest thing. It was so hard not to laugh while he was saying that because he was so right. But on the other hand, like, you don't want to let him know he's right. So, of course, he was still, like, punished for it. But it still makes a good story every once in a while. Your kids are smarter than you think. So don't put them in situations, I guess, like, I'll just have to get up with him and make sure that he's absolutely full before I go back to bed from now on.